What does it really mean to be free? That is the question, because a lot of people think freedom means nobody tells me what to do. I can do what I want. I can say what I want. I can go where I want. I can leave when I want. I can cut people off when I want. I can chase what I want. And at first, that sounds like freedom, but let's slow down. Because if I can do whatever I want, but I cannot control what I want, am I really free? If I can say whatever I want, but I cannot control my anger, am I really free? If I can buy whatever I want, but I cannot control my spending, am I really free? If I can scroll whenever I want, but I cannot sit quietly for 5 minutes, am I really free? If I can walk away from anyone, but I cannot stay long enough to have one honest conversation, am I really free? That is the part we do not like to talk about. Sometimes what we call freedom is just being ruled by something inside us, ruled by fear, ruled by anger, ruled by pride, ruled by appetite, ruled by insecurity, ruled by the need to be liked, ruled by the need to prove people wrong. And when something controls you, even if it is inside you, you are not free. You are just obeying a different master. That is why balance matters. Balance is not being boring. Balance is not being weak. Balance is not saying everything is fine when it is not fine. Balance is not being passive. Balance means your life is in the right order. Your work matters, but it is not your God. Your family matters, but they are not supposed to carry your whole identity. Your feelings matter, but they are not supposed to drive the car. Your dreams matter, but they are not allowed to destroy your character. Your pain matters, but it is not supposed to become your whole personality. Balance means things have their proper place. And most of us know what imbalance feels like. You work too much, then you crash. You say yes too often, then you get resentful. You avoid hard conversations, then the relationship gets cold. You try to control everything, then you wonder why you are exhausted. You chase pleasure, then feel empty. You try to be strong all the time, then one small thing breaks you. You tell yourself you are protecting your peace, but sometimes you are just avoiding the truth. And that is where Jesus speaks directly to us. In the Gospel of John, Jesus says, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." That sentence is famous. People quote it all the time. But we should ask, why does truth set us free? Why not comfort? Why not success? Why not money? Why not independence? Why not getting everything we want? Jesus says truth sets us free because lies keep us trapped. And not just big lies, small lies too. The little lies we tell ourselves every day. I am fine. I am not angry. I do not care. I have it under control. I can stop anytime. I am only doing this because I have to. They are the problem, not me. This is just who I am. Nothing needs to change. Those lies may help us feel better for a moment, but over time, they build a prison. A lie is comfortable at first, but it always sends you a bill later. The truth may hurt at first, but it opens the door. Let's go back to the beginning of the Bible. In the book of Genesis, God creates Adam and Eve. They are the first human beings in the story. God places them in a garden. The garden is full of life, beauty, work, relationship, and purpose. They are not trapped. They are not miserable. They are not slaves. They are free. But God gives them one boundary. There is one tree they are told not to eat from. Now the serpent comes along and basically says, God is holding out on you. God does not want you to be free. God knows that if you eat this fruit, you will be like him. That is the temptation. The serpent makes the boundary look like oppression. He makes obedience look like slavery. He makes rebellion look like freedom. And that is still how temptation works. It whispers, you should not have to wait. You should not have to forgive. You should not have to be honest. You should not have to control yourself. You should not have to listen. You should not have to change. You should not have limits. So Adam and Eve eat, and what happens? They do not become free. They become ashamed. They hide. They blame each other. They lose peace. That is important. They broke the boundary because they wanted more freedom, but they ended up less free than before. That is what happens when we reject truth. We do not become more free. We become more divided. Divided from God, divided from other people, divided inside ourselves. And we know this feeling. You say something cruel because you are angry, and for 5 seconds it feels powerful. Then later you feel ashamed. You buy something you cannot afford, and for 10 minutes it feels good. Then the stress comes back. You avoid the conversation, and for one day it feels peaceful. Then the distance grows. You lie to protect your image, and for a while it works. Then you have to keep managing the lie. That is not freedom, that is hiding. And one of the first questions God asks Adam in the garden is, "Where are you?" God is not asking because he is confused. God is not walking around heaven saying, "Has anybody seen Adam?" God knows where Adam is. The question is for Adam. Where are you? In other words, Adam, look at yourself. Where are you now? What has happened to you? Why are you hiding? Why are you ashamed? Why are you blaming? That is the question truth asks every one of us. Where are you? Not where do people think you are? Not what image are you posting? Not what role are you playing? Where are you really? Are you tired? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Are you jealous? Are you afraid? Are you pretending? Are you avoiding something? Are you calling something freedom that is actually destroying you? This is where freedom begins, not with pretending, with truth. Now let's talk about extremes, because extremes are tempting, and they are tempting because they feel simple. It is easier to say, "I am never trusting anyone again," than to learn wisdom. It is easier to say, "I do not care what anyone thinks," than to admit you are hurt. It is easier to say, "I am just a hard worker," than to admit you do not know how to rest. It is easier to say, "That is just how I am," than to grow. It is easier to cut everyone off than to learn boundaries. It is easier to explode than to explain. It is easier to disappear than to apologize. Extremes feel strong, but many times, extremes are just fear wearing a leather jacket. They look tough, but underneath, they are scared. Scared of being hurt, scared of being wrong, scared of being seen, scared of being ordinary, scared of needing help, scared of slowing down, scared of admitting the truth. Balance is harder. Balance says, "I will be honest, but I will not be cruel. I will be kind, but I will not be fake. I will forgive, but I will not pretend nothing happened. I will work hard, but I will not worship my job. I will rest, but I will not use rest as an excuse to avoid responsibility. I will feel my emotions, but I will not let them become my boss." That is freedom. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel. Freedom is not being controlled by whatever you feel. Think about Moses. Moses is one of the most important people in the Old Testament. The Israelites, God's people, are slaves in Egypt. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, is cruel to them. He forces them to work. He makes their lives bitter. Moses is born during this time, but he is raised in Pharaoh's house. So Moses has a strange life. He is Hebrew by birth, but raised like an Egyptian. He has privilege, but he also knows his people are suffering. One day, Moses sees an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Moses gets angry. He knows this is wrong. But instead of acting with wisdom, he acts out of rage. He kills the Egyptian and hides the body. Now notice this. Moses cared about the right thing, but he handled it the wrong way. His anger was connected to something real, but his anger was not under control. That is a word for us. You can be right about the problem and still wrong in your response. You can see something clearly and still act foolishly. You can be hurt for a real reason and still hurt other people. You can tell the truth in a way that does damage. Moses was not free yet. He was angry. He was reactive. He was hiding. And after this, Moses runs away into the wilderness. Years later, God meets Moses at a burning bush. The bush is on fire, but it is not burning up. God calls Moses and sends him back to Egypt to lead the Israelites out of slavery. But this time, Moses is different. He is not a young man acting out of rage. He is a humbled man learning to obey God. He is still afraid. He still has questions. He still feels unqualified. But now he is moving under God's direction. That is balance. Not passion without wisdom, not fear without action, but courage under truth. Moses had to become free inside before he could lead people into freedom outside. And maybe that is true for us too. You cannot lead your family into peace if you are ruled by anger. You cannot build a healthy relationship if you are ruled by fear. You cannot make wise decisions if you are ruled by pride. You cannot live a free life if you are constantly obeying every impulse that rises up inside you. Now look at Jesus. Jesus is the clearest picture of freedom. And what is amazing about Jesus is that he is never trapped in one extreme. He is gentle, but he is not weak. He is strong, but he is not cruel. He is holy, but he is not cold. He is loving, but he is not fake. He tells the truth, but not to show off. He confronts people, but not because he enjoys conflict. He forgives sinners, but he does not pretend sin is harmless. He welcomes broken people, but he also calls them into a new life. Jesus is free because he is not controlled by fear, ego, approval, anger, or pressure. Crowds cannot control him. Critics cannot control him. Religious leaders cannot control him. Even his friends cannot force him into their expectations. He lives from truth. That is why he can be tender with one person and firm with another. That is why he can be silent in one moment and bold in another. That is why he can eat with sinners and still call people to repent. Jesus shows us that balance is not about being in the middle of everything. Balance is about being rooted in truth. Sometimes truth is soft. Sometimes truth is sharp. Sometimes truth comforts. Sometimes truth corrects. But truth always leads toward life. So let's make this practical. How do you become more balanced? How do you become more free? Start with one honest sentence. That is it. One honest sentence. I am overwhelmed. I need help. I am avoiding this. I was wrong. I am jealous. I am scared. I am tired. I have been pretending. I am not at peace. Do not underestimate the power of one honest sentence. Lies love the dark. Truth turns on the light. Second, ask, what is controlling me? Before you say, this is just my personality, ask, is it really? Or is fear controlling me? Is anger controlling me? Is insecurity controlling me? Is comfort controlling me? Is money controlling me? Is the need to be admired controlling me? Is my past controlling me? Because whatever controls you is shaping your life. Third, look at the fruit. Jesus said that a tree is known by its fruit. That means you can learn a lot by asking, what is this producing? My schedule, what is it producing? My habits, what are they producing? My friendships, what are they producing? My anger, what is it producing? My silence, what is it producing? My version of freedom, what is it producing? Is it producing peace? Is it producing love? Is it producing patience? Is it producing maturity? Is it producing honesty? Or is it producing chaos, distance, exhaustion, resentment, and more hiding? Do not just listen to what something promises. Look at what it produces. Fourth, give things their proper place. This is balance. Work belongs in your life, but it should not own your life. Rest belongs in your life, but it should not become laziness. Emotions belong in your life, but they should not rule your decisions. Other people's opinions matter sometimes, but they should not become your God. Your past matters, but it should not write the whole story. Your dreams matter, but they should not cost you your soul. Freedom comes when things return to their proper place. And finally, stay close to Jesus, because Jesus does not just tell the truth. Jesus is the truth. He said, I am the way and the truth and the life. So when Jesus says the truth will set you free, he is not just giving you a principle. He is inviting you to himself. He is saying, come out of hiding, come out of pretending, come out of extremes, come out of the lies that helped you survive but are now keeping you stuck. Come out of the anger that feels powerful but is eating you alive. Come out of the fear that calls itself wisdom. Come out of the pride that calls itself confidence. Come out of the avoidance that calls itself peace. Come into truth. And yes, truth may feel uncomfortable at first, but truth is not your enemy. Truth is the doorway out. It is the doorway out of shame, out of confusion, out of pretending, out of slavery, out of chaos, out of being pulled from one extreme to another. A free person is not someone with no limits. A free person is someone who is no longer controlled by lies. A free person can say, I was wrong, and not fall apart. A free person can say, I need help, and not feel worthless. A free person can say, I am angry, without becoming cruel. A free person can say, I love you, without trying to control you. A free person can work hard, then rest. A free person can forgive, but still have wisdom. A free person can be strong, but still be tender. A free person can be honest, but still be loving. That is balance. That is maturity. That is freedom. So maybe the question today is simple. Where are you? Where are you out of balance? Where are you living at the extreme? Where are you calling something freedom that is actually controlling you? Where are you avoiding the truth because the lie feels easier? And what is the one honest sentence God is asking you to say? Because the truth does not set you free by flattering you. The truth sets you free by waking you up. It shows you what is real. It shows you what is broken. It shows you what needs to change. But it also shows you that God is not afraid of the truth about you. He already knows. And he is not asking, where are you, so he can shame you. He is asking because he is calling you out of hiding. The truth will set you free. Not the image, not the performance, not the extreme, not the excuse, not the lie, the truth. And the moment you are willing to live in truth, even one small truth, freedom has already begun.